Thanks.
You know he's watching.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Oh yeah, you got thumbs up this week.
All right. All right. We'll call the Committee of the Whole for April 26th. Could I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shimmers. Here. Witt. Here. Seeley.
Here.
Davis. Here. Copeland.
Here.
Messman.
Here.
Kearns.
Here. All right. And first up on the agenda, we have Dave here to talk to us about the 4th of July Festival.
I got the drum roll for you, Dave.
For the gallows. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave Helscher. I'm the never-to-be-replaced chair of the 4th of July. Never to be replaced, despite this is my 5th time of being my last year as chair of the 4th of July Festival. Hard to believe you step outside. In 10 weeks, it will be the 4th of July. And the 4th of July Festival is going to have their festival again this year on the 4th of July. There have been suggestions to move to a different date because of the weather, and kind of like it's in the name. It's there to commemorate the independence of the country. That's the point of the 4th of July. It's a one-day event. This will be our 11th year of operation. We will be basically down in Riverview Park. We will be having wiffle ball, volleyball, bags tournament starting at staggered starts at 8, 9, 9:30 that morning. We will have, well, we're planning to have, we're still in the state of organizing, putting this all together, food trucks down in our food court along Baseball Drive.
Park Drive, yeah.
Then at 1 o'clock, we will have a parade starting at 9th Avenue North, coming along the dike down to 6th Avenue South. Or 5th Avenue South. I'm not sure. We haven't worked out the logistics of when to turn off there. Probably close Riverview Drive at 6th Avenue so we don't end up with people coming down. Parade is at 1 o'clock. Starting at 2 o'clock, then the main festivities at the band shell, the national anthem, live music in the band shell. In previous year, we've had inflatables out in the park area. Our usual supplier of inflatables is not available this year. So we made contact with another outfit that has inflatables available and can come, deliver, set them up, take them down, but not operate them. So we're going to have volunteers needed to operate these inflatables during the day if we go with inflatables. I'll come back to that. Some possible exciting. Later in the afternoon, we will have a wrestling event. So everybody get their singlet out, get dressed. It's an outfit that's based just south of Iowa City. We've had them back. This will be our 3rd year of using them. It's family friendly. Audience is encouraged to become involved vocally, not physically. And it's a wrestling event. Kind of took a while for people to get involved and realize that audience vocal participation is encouraged. Prior to that, starting at 2 o'clock, it's the petting zoo, which is extremely popular. We've confirmed with them. The wrestling is confirmed. The food trucks will be operating. Live music. There will be a ball game, and that's confirmed at 6:30 at the stadium. And then fireworks will follow, depending on how soon the game gets over with. Was it 5 years ago? The game was over with at 9:15 and the sun was still out, no fireworks. And social media lit up. Where's the fireworks? Wait for the sun to go down. So following the game and after dusk, there will be fireworks as well. I'm sorry. Yeah. Couching a little bit because I was approached and we're kind of excited about, but there's going to be some work. We were approached by a carnival to come to town. And it was a carnival that was here a couple of years ago. You might remember the JCs had sponsored something out on the far west end. Same outfit. And they had called me, and they got my name from the chamber. And he started off saying, well, you with the JCs? I'm going, no, I'm long past aging out of the JCs. Trust me, long past that. Well, he wanted to know about the 4th of July, so we chatted. And a possibility of bringing the carnival to town with lots of different options to be involved. The guy that runs this finally made contact with him, but he couldn't get back to me because he had a 2-week engagement with the Alabama State Fair. He's operating down in the southern tier of counties. And I talked with him Monday, I think it was. What's today, Tuesday? Yesterday. Tells you where my head is at. And he was in a part where cell phone reception was very bad and no broadband for internet, emails and stuff, but the carnival was operating. He's going to get a hold of me next week. We're going to talk about different options available. If they bring the carnival and we just pay them flat fee and they operate and we can do whatever we want, it's $28,000, which is far in excess of what we've operated on as a budget. And I said, that's a deal breaker right there. So we're going to explore some different options, how many rides he brings along. They'll have carnival food trucks, funnel cakes, corn dogs, that type of thing. So they're not competing with the food trucks that we had last year down there. A little bit different quality of food and different menu options. But one thing, they did not want the inflatables if they were going to be there because it competes for that ticket price. So we've got the inflatables, a bid from them. We've got to talk to the carnival and what options are available. We thought the placement of the carnival, the old Alliant Energy field there with the fence around it would be perfect. Stick the carnival in there, chat with the fire department to make sure that we're out of the fallout area from the fireworks and clear that. They have some interest in operating on Sunday. The 4th falls on a Monday this year. Their previous engagement before they would come to Clinton is in Missouri. They would strike and move and set up and operate maybe Sunday night till dusk, maybe a little later than that, and then operate starting like at 10, 10:30, 11 in the morning, and then operate until the end of the ball game or dusk, and then close down. So then the fireworks concludes the events. They think they can make a go of it. They have an array of 31 different rides they can use. They don't have to bring them all. They bring their own staff and crew. The only thing, as far as they said, they have their own generators to operate all the equipment with a need for electrical feed to refrigerate some of their food items, which you can drop a cord across Baseball Drive and work that. But we're in negotiations on all of that. The only thing we've said is that we just buy their services for the day for $28,000 is out. We operate off a budget of $20,000 to $24,000. So the city's contribution, very much appreciated, very significant and essential to our continuing operation. We had some carryover from funds from last year, and with your contribution, we've received a commitment from a private individual, and that'll allow for the parachutists to drop into the ballpark just before the ball game. Another individual's kicked in some money, a couple $100, $500. We've also received commitment in part of their donation advertisement. Billion Auto is committed to $3,000 to the fireworks. All of that combined gets us kind of a minimum of being able to pull off the festival, leaving a zero balance. This is kind of a kickoff, so everybody listening in, watching in, present, we've got our hands out. It's all funded by donations, contributions. Food trucks will have a fee attached to it. The carnival would obviously have a ticket price to it. The ball game has a price of admission. And if you want to feed the animals at the petting zoo, it's $1. That way they can control the amount of food that's being fed to the animals. With that exception, it's open, it's free, it's available. It's a family-friendly event. We've arranged for the mayor for his ride this year. The Sawmill Museum is committed to bring their electric train along and ride that in the parade, and that's the mayor's ride, the grand marshal yet to be selected, and a button winner. We go into the schools.
Wait, the mayor's riding the train, the sawmill train?
Well, it was either that or a pink Cadillac,
Oh, okay.
and he's done the pink
That
Cadillac.
train's pretty cool.
We'll have to get him a hat.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows about the train yet. He said, "I don't care, put me on something."
I think it's fitting.
Walk,
Yeah.
little train. I told the Sawmill Museum, put your name all over the place. We want a cross-fertilized advertisement for people coming out of town, and they do. Had a couple from Ohio. They want to come back. 2 years ago during COVID, we had people from Morrison and Sterling, LeClaire, and I forget the town out west. It was the only fireworks around. They came through and they just loved the park. They hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
One family, there were 10 in the family. Little girl got lost, and I'm not sure who was more terrified, her or me with a little 2-year-old who basically did not want to hold hands because I did not want to lose touch with her in the parade sheet. Wanted nothing to do with me, but we found her parents. Reunited, but it was 10 in the family. And we've had other incidents, so that's why it's important to have the fire department, the police department, the EMTs. For the most part, it's been boring. We've had a few things. It is the 4th of July. It is hot. It is humid. We've had a few heat incidents, but for the most part, a good festival. Turnout 2 years ago because of COVID was very light, but we had a very minimal festival. Last year, crowds were returning. Prior to that, I would say, based upon police department estimates, 5,000 to 7,000. It's hard to judge because people come and go. We'd like to have them all come, self-contained, come down at noon, 1 o'clock, watch the parade, listen to music, get something to eat, pet the little animals, watch the wrestling, go to a carnival ride, go to the ball game, watch the fireworks, and go home.
Very good.
And the biggest need, besides donations, are volunteers. We need volunteers, whether they need to help out and assist with setup, takedown, fairly minimal, little decoration, the band shell. City's going to donate a city flag to stick on, or we're going to borrow a city flag to stick on the band shell. We've got a big flag in back. I haven't heard back on the state flag, whether you get one that flew over the Capitol. But we need volunteers to kind of monitor the grounds. If we do go with the inflatables to help out there, Carnival might, depending on tickets and what we agree on. We've had a good group of people show up to set up. Takedowns, maybe a little bit different story. Generally, I'm down there from 8 to 8. Makes for a very long day. And I have to, besides myself, Angie Gable, Ted Turno, Charlene Nicolette, Parks and Recreation, Chris Evans and Kathy Marks, the police department, the fire department, the EMTs. I'm going to forget somebody. Chris Streets kind of sets up the music. I probably still forgotten somebody. Other volunteers, we've got the parade organized, our usual volunteers on that, who I think would just prefer to remain anonymous. But we
So, Dave, besides volunteer help, how much are you financially requesting from the city this year?
I think it was 8,000.
8,000. Okay. All
Part
right.
of that goes for the fireworks, and then it helps defray.
And I think that's what we did last year.
That's more than what you
Yep,
did last
fine.
year.
Oh, we did 5 last year. Perfect.
55,
Okay.
55.
55.
All right.
And the great news is all the council members approved that on the budget, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to ask for or to thank you, but
That's why I threw it out for you.
I have asked you, and I thank you. So I'm well covered on both.
So it's my understanding the city council would need to make a motion to support the festival with our $8,000 contribution. Is that correct?
Check.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
We have
I'll
a-
second it.
We have a motion and a second.
Just one
There-
quick
yes.
question. You said on average, we get 5,000 to 7,000 people that show up for this event?
That's based on a crowd estimate.
That's fine. And if people wanted to donate money or time, who would they contact?
They can contact me, Angie Gable, Ted, probably and they can tell us what their strengths, skills, desires, timeframes. Actually, Dr. Gable kind of sets up the volunteer schedules, so you know what time, what to do. We have T-shirts printed up. We've had a variety of different colors. I don't know what it'll be this year, but that way we can identify visually who are our volunteers, and the crowd, people in the crowd can spot them. I just think if there was a Pepto-Bismol pink one year, not a good color choice for me, but you could spot them. And you get a T-shirt, and the people that donate $500 or more get their names on the back of it. We have a little logo on the front of it. We sponsor a little contest with the area school students. Come up with a design.
Awesome.
Incorporating Clinton, the year, and something with the 4th of July. And then we select the winner, who then becomes our button winner. We have little buttons, which we will have made. Clinton Printing does a good job, and those are around town, and people can donate and get a button. We put on the front of the T-shirts, becomes part of our advertising. And for those who are interested, we have a Facebook page. Don't ask me anything about Facebook, don't know. I'm the least literate on social media, and maybe deliberately so. So I can't hear what people said about the 4th of July. I hear about it on the 4th.
The Facebook page would be called what?
Clinton 4th of July Festival.
I bet we could figure it out.
your
Yeah,
Facebook.
Matt, can we get it on the
Heck yeah.
city
A link,
Facebook?
yep.
Yeah.
perfect.
So and you're all invited if you want to ride on the train.
Well, that'd be a sight to see, all of us on there.
We get pictures.
It's
kinda
easier
fun,
to
though.
arrange than
Yeah.
convertibles. We try to avoid a fiasco
Okay.
3 years ago. Yes, Greg?
Just one side note, the River City Municipal Band will be in the parade.
Good.
Sounded
They're
very
good.
much.
Our plan is to operate the parade as we have in the past. Everybody lines up on the east side of the railroad tracks going up Roosevelt from 9th Avenue North. That way we don't have to worry about the trains, which is another headache that
Yeah.
has occurred in the past. And with the merger of CP and Kansas City Southern, my understanding is that train traffic will increase over time. May not see it this 4th of July, but in whoever's chairing this group next year and the year after and for the next 11 years, will have to contend.
I think I heard Councilmember Oberon mention something about wanting to do it. Did you guys hear that?
He's been talking me.
Greg has been a past grand marshal, so he owes the 4th of July.
I mean, he's got the experience for it as well.
It's more of an organizational, for being on our committee is organizational, and then help volunteer on the day. It has its own rewards. I always try to find a moment or two that makes that effort all worthwhile. And I can't think of the one last year. The year before, I went by this large family after the fireworks and asked who liked fireworks. Well, one boy, he just bold as could be, said, "I hated it." What did you hate? He said, "It was too loud. The booms. I don't like the booms." Okay,
Not the place to be then.
not the place to
They
be.
actually-
He
they actually-
survived.
They actually have fireworks that have no booms.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be all right with me.
Yep. It's all
I am not a
splash.
fan of fireworks, so why am I chair of this? I should be impeached. I should be
Should be
removed.
impeached.
Yeah.
It's part of my campaign to get off of
Awesome.
this.
Well, Dave, we sure do appreciate all your hard work on this and the rest of the people that put this together. And I think it's neat to see it growing every year. It
Yeah.
certainly is. It's a good event.
We try to change it up, try to
Yep.
add something different. We're open and receptive to ideas. Just before I came over here, I was working on securing a coffee truck, maybe,
Maybe.
as a food court. Being
Perfect.
a coffee fanatic, I would greatly appreciate.
You need that there. It's a long day.
It is a long
Yep.
day.
Awesome.
I know you said to contact him and other volunteers. I'm sorry. I know you said to contact you and other volunteers, but how do we contact you? Yeah,
Ask for
contact
the
him.
bearded banker at Clinton National Bank. I'm the only one.
All right.
I have his
Only bearded
contact
banker.
information,
Okay.
Eartha.
Thank you.
I had-
Yep.
I had an old couple.
Is
that-
your email at work okay?
Yeah.
Or, okay. All right.
Yeah, the bank has been very gracious in allowing me what time I need to help put this
Awesome.
thing together and organize, and whether they know it or not. And so there's weekends and evenings and during the day, and it's just our little bit of giving back to the community. So.
And he did mention Dr. Angie Gable, who kind of
Yes.
orchestrates the
She's
volunteer
another-
time, so she'd be a good one to contact
Perfect.
also.
All I'll take is name, contact, and interest. If somebody that wants to donate, I'm the treasurer, so the buck stops here. And Angie handles a lot of the volunteers. Someday, maybe we'll secure funding that our committee will have an executive getaway in February.
For planning purposes.
Obviously, planning purposes. Whatever time the bar opens, the planning will start.
Well, for this year, let's keep the 8,000 here in town, and
We're trying
Go
as
from
best
there.
we can to use local services and stuff. Sometimes it's just not possible
yep. Very good.
to put on a good time.
Very good. Anything else? All right. Let's have roll call. Thanks, Dave.
Councilmember Schummers. Whip.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
All right. Up next, we have Lesley with the CVB, and she's going to give an update on all the great stuff she's been working on.
I will, but I'll start with telling you that it is facebook.com/4th of July Clinton IA.
Bam.
Perfect.
That's the page you need.
Thank you for that.
Yes. That's, my job. So. So I'm here to give you just kind of a report on the activities of the CVB, which is, of course, now a department of Grow Clinton. Thank you for your support in that. I've been on the job just over a year now, about 5 quarters, and so I realized I hadn't come and given you a report yet and thought I should do that. You have the report that I sent in. I will not read every single word, but I'll hit the bullet points, and if you have a question, just stop me and I'll flesh out whatever you have a question on. So, of course, one of the biggest highlights from last year was RAGBRAI. That was very successful. It was 7 months of planning and included literally every department. So everything from the fire department, the police department, the streets, just everybody. If I started naming people, I would not be able to name everyone. The executive planning team was made up of myself. This says Matt Parks. It's supposed to be Matt Parbs. Chris Wiersema, Greg Oberon was on that team, and Zane Pennick. So I'm really grateful to all of them for actually keeping it running before I even came on the job. And I think it went very smoothly. The estimates were about 20,000 people into town. The CVB did a revenue of over $80,000 just in parking. And then in addition, about $17,000 that came in from the people that dealt directly with us and RAGBRAI itself, plus an additional $15,000 in donation dollars to go out to local nonprofits. So it was very profitable.
Can I interrupt you for one
Yes,
second?
please.
Were we able to see any difference in the Hotel Motel Tax for that? Are you going to get into
We
that?
were, and surprisingly, it went the opposite direction that I would have expected. But I will hit that on the
Okay,
back of this.
okay.
Yes, absolutely. So we did, though revenue came in through Hotel Motel Tax, and of course, lots of sales tax, vendor fees, things like that. Because of the way my department is structured, I don't have the ability to tell you this much money came in that weekend in sales tax. You guys might be able to look that up. I don't know. But we have, anecdotally, we had a lot of, for example, the Quick Trip.
Quick start, both.
Thank you, Quick Star. So, right. But they were right on the route. They said they sold out of hot dogs and sold out of, I don't even know what all, but they sold out of their food, all their prepared foods and things like that. So it was a great weekend. I had a fantastic time doing it. Everyone's like, so you're going to submit for next year? But they've already got that decided. But it's something that I would be happy to do again. I thought it was a lot of fun, and we had a great team. And I think we had a really great plan in place. We worked that, and it went very smoothly. We did get lots of excellent media coverage in that, all of the different TV stations. At one point or another, I think I was on just about every network beforehand, had interviewed me, some of them that day while we were parking cars, things like that. So it was a great opportunity. Any more questions about RAGBRAI? Okay. So American Countess, last year we were scheduled to have 3 stops. One of them got canceled because it was still early. COVID was still happening. The last 2 came. We got great marks in our hospitality, great feedback. This year, their website had us listed multiple times, but we kept not getting information. And so when I finally was able to get a person, after about the 4th person that they sent me to, they said, "You're not on our system." I said, "Can you tell me why?" And they said the city hadn't signed a contract. So I immediately got with Lisa. Lisa was very responsive, emailed them immediately. Then Lisa did the research and found out actually we have signed a contract through 2024, I believe it was, or 2025, that we absolutely have signed that. So then Lisa and I have both been contacting them, following up, saying, "Are you going to let us know what's going on?" So we did hear back, I think yesterday. They said that they will look at it and see if they can still put us on this summer, which would be a fantastic thing. But they recognize that we do have a signed contract with them and we should be included
It's
in.
not like it's a new thing.
Exactly. It's not
That doesn't
new.
even
We
make
signed a
sense.
5-year contract the last
Yeah.
time we signed one.
Maybe some turnover and.
They had a lot of turnover. They had a lot of turnover because, of course, COVID just decimated their business for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of that. I know that was.
Okay.
But with that, I've been speaking with Chris Streets, who is the new president of the Showboat. We actually have a plan to include the Showboat Theater as one of their stops. They have to approve this, but this is my plan and Chris's plan, to have a person up on the stage kind of giving a history of Clinton and telling them what we have to offer. And then, of course, there will be Clinton souvenirs for sale on the way out the door.
You'll probably have
So-
realtors there trying to sell it.
Sure, you bet. So I think it's a great opportunity. I have told them that we do have new plans and we have things that we'd love to offer them. So we're in a holding pattern on that, but I do want to publicly say a giant thank you to Kathy Klon, who is just instrumental in that. She's the one that first got them here, right? And because of all the turnover, all of the captains that she knew personally are no longer with them. But I mean, I've sat with her while she personally got her cell phone and called up the cell phone of one of the captains and said, "Tell me about this," and asked questions. So she does a great job with it. I'm grateful to her for all of that knowledge and information with that. So any questions about American Queen / Countess? Good, okay. The next one I think you probably know about, but thanks to a contact through Mayor Madison, we do have a bass tournament coming in June. He was able to reach out, make that contact. They came here, they loved it. We spoke with them quite a bit. We did some wooing of the powers that be. They run, this is the Bass Nation regional qualifier, I believe. And what they told me is we can't get this tournament every year. However, they also run a college and high school tournament. And I said, well, how about if we just trade off years? We'll take one year and one the next year. That is not a done deal, but we have at least put that in the works. And so we think that as we move forward here, it's the last week of June. We think that that's a great opportunity to show them what Clinton has to offer and to make sure they want to come back next year. So. All right. And then as well, it was Mayor Madison who reached out to me and asked me to be a part of the committee meeting with the Tailgate and Tallboys Music Festival. You all had that presentation at the last meeting, I believe it was. And so that's very exciting. We're looking forward to what that's going to bring to Clinton. And so that's been, it's been fun for me to be a part of that committee and to be able to work with that. 2 other brand new events that are coming this summer. When I started this job, I would tell basically anyone that I met, I'd say, if you plan something that gets people here for 2 days, so they stay overnight, I will help you plan it. So I did have people take me up on that. The first one was Lou Ray, and she is the owner of Deja Vu. She and her husband are Jeep enthusiasts and go to Jeep rides around the region. And she said, we should do something like that. So coming up the first weekend of June, we have the East Coast of Iowa Jeeps. It is our first event, and we expect it to be annual. I think it's very cool. It's very exciting. So we do have 3 full days of events planned, and my goal is always, as the tourism director, to benefit our entire community. So I don't need to plan every moment. I need to send them into our community. So on Thursday night, we are coordinating with Music on the Avenue, with Karen and the Downtown Clinton Alliance. So while they have the regular car show in one block, we'll be doing a Jeep show the next block up as part of that event. And of course, having them enjoy Music on the Avenue. That also is the opening night for the Showboat, and it is the second game of the Lumber Kings season. They open the night before. So we're promoting all of that very heavily and telling them they need to be part of that. The Showboat has offered $10 off if they show their registration for the Jeep ride, so that's a great way to help get them get their dollars in town. So then on Friday, we have what I'm calling side quests. They get to choose their own adventure. Do they want outdoor adventure or indoor adventure? And so Lou and I have gone out and ridden around lots of places, identified a lot of places. For example, Heritage Canyon in Fulton. It's a fantastic space for people to go visit. Jeep riders would like it. It is not something that I can take 50 Jeeps on a parade to. There's no way they can get a turnaround. That's the kind of thing we're sending them to on Friday. There are several other locations like that throughout the whole region. Our goal is to keep them in this region. We don't want them to get too far north so that we lose them to Savannah. And we don't want to get them too far west so that we lose them to Maquoketa or somewhere like that. So we have all kinds of things that we're planning on these side quests. The indoor ones will be the different bars and eateries and things they can do, bowling, things like that. So with that, I have been reaching out to businesses in town. They're offering discounts if they just show that registration. So that's our goal, is to have a whole bunch of information for them on here are all the things you can do in Clinton on Friday. Then Friday night is, of course, Finally Friday. So we're plugging them into Finally Friday with that live music already happening in the band shell for them. So then Saturday is the big ride. So we'll start at Riverview Park parking lot. We have mapped out a route through Eagle Point Park up through Wide River Winery, which of course is a fantastic ride. If you haven't gone up there, the Jeepers are going to love it. Yeah, it's fantastic. So, well, and they're actually they'll stop there and they'll have some refreshments. Yes, which is a perfect place for that. We were up visiting with them and they're excited. They're going to work out some kind of a package with the charcuterie board or whatever. And then there's actually there's a road open now past it that goes down towards Bulger's Hollow. So we're taking that road out, hitting Bulger's Hollow. There are a whole bunch of roads that I wrote down that are things called like 153rd Street or something. Places I have not been. Lou knew where they were. Gravel roads, perfect for the Jeeps. So we have all kinds of that going around. The next refreshment stop is in Charlotte, so we're going to take a little bit of that Ragbri back road route to get out there and stop at, I think it's called Dad's Place out there. It is Dad's Place. I have not confirmed it with Dad's Place yet, so don't tell them. They're on my list to call tomorrow. So out there, and then the next stop, then there's some more kind of country type roads, and then our last stop is Legends Bar and Grill here in Clinton, so that we're getting them back to town about 4 p.m., let them get their dinner, and then we have a Jeep in movie that night in the Alliance Steel Lot. So we're working with Parks and Rec on that, with Josh and Kathy have been working with me, and that will also be open to the community. We have to find out how many tickets we are selling. But we know from Ragbri that we can fit something like 753 cars in that lot. So we know that's tons of space. Then we intend to open it up to the community to come on in. We did secure, the company told me today that there might be a problem because there's a new release coming out, but we've secured Jurassic Park because, of course, that includes Jeeps. But as it turns out, the Jurassic Park sequel opens right around that same time frame. So they said they don't think there should be a problem, but they'll let me know. So that's really exciting. And then our goal is, of course, that movie won't start till after dark because we're also making sure we don't conflict with the Showboat show. We want to make sure we start after they end. So then they have to stay in a hotel that night, right? Because it's late. So then on Sunday, there is a Showboat matinee, and there is also Blessing of the Bikes in Fulton. So hopefully we will keep them in town for all of those days. That's the plan. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Do you have a Jeep?
I do not have a Jeep.
Somebody over there has a Jeep.
I will say, I've ridden in one for the first time on well, but probably not the first time, but now I'm seeing them everywhere.
You should find a minimum maintenance road.
There are some real gravel roads out there.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, up to Wide River would be called minimum maintenance, I think. We do have, if you are a Jeep person and you want ducks, we have some ducks with tags with the event on them to hand out. So just let me know, or Lou, either one of us. So.
I think you should contact the dirt owners out by the Wild Rose. All the dirt was moved, there's a bunch of mounds, and they can set up a course.
That's a whole thing. People love that.
They love the course.
That's what people like to do.
I will get with you and find out who that is. I don't know who it is. I think that's great. Yeah.
It's amazing what people want to do with like a $75,000 Jeep.
I know.
Sideways on it.
And we are looking for sponsors for that. So if you know of companies that are good fits for that, we'd love to have those sponsorships in there. So, okay. So that's the Jeep ride. The other one, that the person that reached out to me that said, I'll plan a 2-day event, is John Dale. He lives in Fulton. He's been bringing Christian music concerts to Fulton for, I think it's like 6 years or longer than that maybe. And he said, well, what if I do a 2-day music festival? And I said, great. I'd be happy to help you plan that. So we are booked in the band shell from August 20th and 21st. We have 8 contracts signed already. If you follow Christian music, you'll probably know the name Jordan Felice. He's our big headliner. He was in a movie over Christmas that kind of really propelled him to the next. Like, he's recognized now in that world. John was telling me, we had a meeting today actually, and he said that, I think it was 6 years ago, Jordan Felice was the very first artist he ever brought to Fulton, and here we are coming full circle. This is his 3rd time back to the area. The first time he was here, he cost about $500. This time he cost $12,000. So that's a little difference, but we're excited to have him here. And some other big names. I'm not sure if I put them in there. We have, I know Vertical Worship is another big one. We Are Leo, JJ Weeks, Outlaws for the Cross. I'm trying to read the sign in my memory. There are some others, but those are some of the bigger names with that. So we're excited with that. He is really doing most of the legwork, and he has already secured over $12,000 in sponsorships, which is awesome. We really still need about another $15,000. So if you know of somebody that's that kind of a connection, send them our way. All right. Any questions on those events?
Sounds fun.
I think it will be. I'm excited. The last bullet point there, I have been, Governor Kim Reynolds appointed me to the Mississippi River Parkway Commission that supports the Great River Road throughout Iowa, so that was pretty cool. I've been going to those meetings longer than I've been appointed, but I am officially appointed now. And the Clinton area had been without specific representation, I think, since Edith passed, as I understand it. So, yes, I'm really glad I didn't actually know how big those shoes were before I stepped into them. But it's nice to have representation. One of the things that frustrates me in tourism is that if you go to Travel Iowa's website, they have a road trip planner, and you put in anywhere you want in the state, and it will route you to that, and nowhere routes them to Clinton because we are out of the way. So I've been trying to make it a point on my advertising to use the slogan, "We're worth the trip," get people over here. So I think that it's been great for me to be able to be on there and just to remind them, like, we're over here, we have a lot to offer. So in addition, I'm on the Iowa Scenic Byways Committee. Both of those represent the Great River Road, but they're 2 different committees because that's the way government works, right? Okay. There is a great thing going with that, though. They are applying for a grant for these scenic byway hubs that I've been talking about with Matt about where to place them. Very cool, and I actually found the artwork that I will send you. I just found it just before I left for my last meeting before this. But we are getting this beautiful hub that will have all kinds of information, and it's about the Great River Road. And then we had submitted all of that, and Matt and I worked on the location for that, which is out on Liberty Square, kind of across from where the paddle wheel is. And we thought that would be great since, of course, we know that's kind of an idea for future development. After I submitted all that.
Visitor center, welcome center, yeah.
Right, exactly. Whatever we want, we're going to have a parking lot started there and a byway hub. There'll be something there. And so after I submitted all of that, the Lincoln Highway Byway, which is a separate organization, reached out to me and said, well, you're also part of Lincoln Highway. How about if we put one of those hubs there? So now we're going to get 2 of them. So that all has to finish the DOT grant, but it's pretty much a done deal. So we're excited about that. I am also on the marketing committee for the Iowa Tourism and Industry Professionals organization. I think I'm on another marketing committee too. I don't know. I just go to the meetings, and then they say, you're on this committee. And I say, of course I am. So on the back page here, in last fall, the Fulton Tourism, I just serve on whatever. Matt already just pinned me for, I think, 2 things. Is that what you were saying? When you were talking about, how did you say it, sponsors? Yes. He's like, you're going to do 2.
It'll be Grow Clinton, but 2 of the items will be with Lesley.
Fantastic. So Fulton, as you know, well, as you may or may not know, has had some trouble keeping tourism people there. And so in the time that I've been here, they have already gone through 2 of them. And I had said several times, you should just let me do your tourism. I am a real firm believer that we need each other. We have some great attractions in Fulton with Heritage Canyon and the windmill and some other things. They need us because, of course, we have the hotels, we have the restaurants, we have the things that they don't have, as well as our attractions. So I think it's a perfect collaboration, and that's actually why I had originally reached out to them, was to try to just collaborate with them, and then they never had somebody for me to work with. So in the fall, their tourism committee reached out to me to ask me my opinion on hiring, what should they be looking for, things like this, and I finally said to the right person, just let me do your tourism. So as of November, I believe, we have a signed contract with them. They contract with Grow Clinton to provide their tourism services. So it's actually been a great collaboration. I meet with their tourism committee. I do promoting for their events as well. Today was, I attended for the first time a Black Hawk Waterway CVB meeting, which is the Northwest Illinois. So I'm excited about that. I think it's a great collaboration. I think it's important for us to work with each other, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that Grow Clinton has let me do that, and that I'm able to kind of help, as I told Rich when I first pitched it to him, to help build more bridges. We don't have a river that divides us, we have bridges that unite us. So that's part of what I do. And then the last bullet point there was that I have had several different engagements. I both attended and I have spoken at Leadership Academy. I've spoken for Rotary, for Kiwanis, Fulton Middle School, Career Day, multiple things like that. So then that takes us down to the chart on Hotel Motel Tax, which you are asking about. You can see, so we are currently set up on a fiscal year from June through the end of May. As Grow Clinton has merged, we are actually changing that, and we will be on an annual or a calendar year. Right now, you have the chart still set up as it has been. So it gets a little bit confusing because taxes are a quarter behind. So if you take a look at the check that we just got in March, that was actually for October, November, December receipts. So you can see that when Ragbri was here was the only time that we have been down this year. So that surprised me a lot. I expected that to be busier. I think maybe it scared some people away and they didn't come because they expected it to be very busy, which we were. Regardless of that, you can see there that variance is from 2020. it's not a surprise that we are $83,000 ahead of 2020. Not a surprise at all. However, in the tourism world, the measure has been 2019 levels. And so all of tourism, all statistics and data currently point to this year being better than the summer of 2019. And I think you can see that with those charts as well. The only month, or the only quarter that we didn't do better was that third quarter, 2019, which was the Lyondale turnaround. And so that filled up hotels for quite a while there. So are there any questions about the hotel motel tax as it stands or as it's going? Okay, I love to see that check come in, so thank you very much for that.
I don't have a
Yes.
question regarding that, but I have a statement. We have a county board of supervisors sitting in the back, and you've done a lot of good work on the highways and the byways, which is interconnecting with Highway 30. And I know a commissioner in the back that is very high proponent of the Highway 30 part.
Yes.
The work you've done may assist with some of the work that he's trying to get done. I would collaborate with him
Absolutely.
and see if we can't build the bridges and roads that we're trying to get accomplished here.
Absolutely.
Because
And I will
it
tell
will
you,
affect
It does.
your work. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Lincoln Highway, which is Highway
Correct.
30, that I'm not on that byway committee, but they are also very much proponents of the 4-lane. I don't think that you'll find anybody who lives or works on Highway 30 that isn't a proponent of that.
There's
So
power in numbers.
There is, absolutely.
So.
We are big supporters of it, and we have made that voice known, too, at that state level.
Okay.
Definitely. Thank you, though.
All right.
Any questions? Okay.
You've done a lot. Thank you.
Those are just the big things.
Yeah. No, I know you're very busy and you work very hard, and we appreciate it. It's
I'm just
very
going to stay
important.
here because I'm the next
Yeah,
person.
we're wondering how you find your way.
Yes, are you wondering that? That's a very valid question because I have zero sense of direction. I was coming back from Polo, Illinois today, and I kept saying, "Are you sure this is right? Really?"
Thank God
But my
for
GPS told me.
GPS, yes.
So, yes. Yes, so that leads us into wayfinding. Are we
So,
ready to-
do we need to move this to the consent agenda or anything? Do you accept the report? Nothing? Okay. All right, let's move on to, wayfinding.
Perfect. So that is part of my job as well, is wayfinding. Of course, wayfinding is very important to tourism, not just to people that live in the city, but it's equally important to both. And I kind of qualify as both because I'm new in the community. I will tell you that for the first month that I lived here, I got on the bridge, the South Bridge, way more times than I should have because that sign was very confusing to me. I couldn't figure out where to go. So,
When you were trying to go to the chamber?
yeah, well, I didn't realize that was an
then you
actual
can't turn
road.
left.
It kind of looks like
Yep,
an
okay.
alley, and then it
Yep.
would say,
Yep.
the sign says no turn, but then there's a one-way sign, so then I was very confused.
Yep, understood. Okay.
Which brings us to the importance of wayfinding. So, wayfinding is about not just, it's about everybody. It's about everybody that lives in town, but it's about everybody coming from out of town to be able to find their way. So I've been on this committee. We did have a task force. Josh Eggers from Parks and Rec was heading that up, and he took on that task. I joined it, as well as several others. They're in the report that you have received from Josh. We met several times. We learned so much from Zane Pennick about arterial roads and collector roads and other things like that. I can't even think of the names of them. It was really fascinating stuff about what goes into city planning and the kind of the undergirding of the road system. But the more that came out, the more we realized that there is a reason you have experts for this. So we did identify the places that we thought were important to call out. We identified injection points, I think 5 major injection points into the city. And then we got to a point where we said, we're at a point where organizing this farther is going to take so much more time and effort than any of us are really qualified for. So we did take a look back. Matt Parbs suggested that we look at the wayfinding studies that St. Ambrose proposed to us several years ago when he was a part of that committee. They pointed us to Corbin Design, who had already put in some initial work towards a bid back the last time this was brought up. And the interesting thing was, the meeting before that, I said, aren't there experts that do this? Like, we're working really hard on this, and I think we're smart, but we're not this smart. Aren't there experts that do this? And Matt said, as a matter of fact, there are, and we've reached out to them. So after going through all of that, our proposal, both the CVB combined with Parks and Rec, is that we work, Matt had indicated that there are funds available through the CIP. The bid that we have from this Corbin Design is $70,000 to provide us the plan that gives all of the analysis, the system design, and documentation, and it puts everything in a neat little package that, well, by little package, it's several inches thick already and hasn't been finished, that says, here is exactly what you need, here's what the signs look like, here's where you put them, here's what goes on them. So our proposal is that we go with that. The CVB, through Grow Clinton, of course, would be willing to provide half of that to match the city funds. We were told there was $35,000 in the city funds for that. Grow Clinton would match that $35,000, and we would actually just run it through us. I'll take on that process, and that's our proposal for that. So I think you actually do need a proposal on that. But I can answer questions, and Josh is here to back me up.
Josh is here to back me up.
I'll make that motion for 35,000.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I think this is a great project. It's important.
I agree.
Yep.
And
It really is.
You guys always talk about having something on the shelf, and so this
Yep.
gives us the roadmap and the plan, and then
Yep.
as we look at, once this plan is actually provided back, then we'll be able to take a look and see how we can phase that out to then start buying some metal and steel to
Yep.
put up new signs of where they go.
And Brian Lemke has the contacts, and that's part of the conversations we've already had about having those signs manufactured and the city installing them.
When did we do the signs we have now? How long ago was that?
Julie Allison.
I would say Julie Allison, I know, had a lot to do with that.
2011, boy, it's longer than
Was it in
that.
concert with Liberty Square? Being
No,
completed?
it was
Or
before that. It was way before that. It was probably, I want to say 1990.
Somebody recently told me that the signs that exist that have the wave
The
in
wave, yeah.
them were part of Julie's plans, because that's why the
Yes.
waves are also built into the bridges.
Because that was all kind of part of the things to do with the river view.
Yeah.
Yep,
Kinda-
getting folks to the river.
So that was,
Right.
I want to say like 98 maybe?
Been a while.
99.
Are you serious?
That's all.
Wow.
So it's time.
I
Yeah.
think the new signage would go in concert well with the new intersections that are being put in Highway 30.
Oh,
That's
right.
true.
No, true.
And can we make part of this, something on the back of that sign, welcome to Clinton sign on the bridge? It looks
Yeah.
terrible as you're leaving.
Oh.
Like, can't we just like,
Welcome
Thanks
back.
for coming, come back.
ask them to come back again or something?
Yeah.
We'll add that to the request.
I think
Write that
so.
down, Josh.
I can add one thing.
Yes.
Mayor, Council, Josh Agers, Parks and Recreation. Just to clarify the dollars, I think there's actually 55,000 in the CIP, so I didn't want to mislead you that there was only 35. There is 55. So if this document can be created, there is some funding that would be left over from that we could put towards some sort of institution.
Yeah, we got a couple signs that need some love.
Sooner than
So
later.
the
Yeah.
backside of the signs that
That'd be-
Councilmember Kearns was talking about, we have money to put the.
No, I don't know on those.
I just didn't want to
Those are
mislead you on the
big.
dollars.
Yeah.
I
We
will
just thought the 20K would be a good seed piece to look at whatever phase one would be, where we could get something done as Corbin works through this process and says, hey, you know what, if you did A, B, and C right now for, say, 20 grand, this would help you. And then there's probably gonna be another cost we'll have to come back to, because we don't know what the end state will look like.
Right, and that's something that we had identified, was that what we had identified were 3 different levels of signage in terms of the injection points, then getting them to neighborhoods, then getting them to specific locations. Zane said that when he started actually I think as an intern, right?
He did, he was.
As an intern, that one of his first assignments was to go out and count every single sign in the city of Clinton.
He still has that.
And there are over 8,000. He told us the exact number. There are over 8,000 pieces of signage. This is not dealing with all of those. This is dealing specifically with wayfinding signs.
And maybe we can add a portion in there too, because when I was talking to the Public Works team yesterday, the flood exit, if the
Yeah,
floodways
those
come
new
through,
signs, yeah.
they said they're confusing.
Why?
where they're located at, because there's a couple places where you're on a hill and it sends you down.
Oh,
So maybe we can take a look at that too.
I haven't been affected by that one because we haven't had a flood that I
No,
needed to
we
evacuate
shouldn't,
from.
yeah.
But otherwise, I would be affected.
Is there a timeline that you'd be working with, having this available, done, kind of thing to look at?
Yes, so Corbin said it would probably be a 9 to 12-month process, which is another, for us, another point in why the experts are going to take a year to do it, let alone having 5 or 6 people who have full-time jobs in other
So
roles.
what might be a smart thing to do is, as we go forward with our capital improvement planning, that we
Absolutely.
put in some placeholders
Oh, yeah.
going forward, not with anything specific, but just,
No, but we could probably get other communities that have our size that have had to put in X number of signs, see what that cost per sign is, so we can at least have a number in our mind
Yep.
to do it. Otherwise, that's the other thing. You don't want to just do a plan and have it sit on the shelf. You want to do a plan to be able to execute. So.
Yep.
And I don't want to give you sticker shock, but I will tell you that when they proposed last time, it was over 400,000.
Oh, yeah.
But that's everything. That's from manufacturing the signs to planting them in the ground or
Yeah.
hanging them on the poles.
Yeah, and
Signs,
everything's,
signs, everywhere signs.
Yep.
Right.
and inflation has risen by 10% or better.
8.3.
Maybe it'll go down by the time we're building the signs. That's
And
what I'm
counting.
hoping for.
Start collecting beer cans.
That's right.
There's plenty along Mill Creek. I can attest to that from Saturday.
There was a lot of bags picked up.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Yeah, good
Yes.
job for, yeah.
Didn't get very
There's a lot
far.
of chunks of concrete I got to tell Brian about that when they did the.
Oh,
section of
Brian
road,
does know.
he
We
does.
don't want your mower getting messed up.
Yeah, lots of chunks of concrete were left behind on Mill Creek when they did.
When they did the patch and they threw it all in the ditch.
Oh.
Nice.
Not all of
It was
it.
too heavy for Mayor Pro Tem to pick up.
Yeah. There was a lot.
I know.
There's a lot.
Do you
But yeah,
have
we
any
don't have the
further
mowers getting
questions for
broke.
me on
No,
it?
this is awesome. Is the council have anything else they'd like to say?
No.
All right. We have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Whit.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Lesley. Josh, are you presenting this one, or is Lesley going to do it?
This is me.
All right.
We'll tag team.
Mayor, Council, Josh Eggers, Parks and Recreation. There's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to try to give to you in summary because this was a $100 million grant option that Governor Reynolds passed on called Destination Iowa. It's broken down in 4 different categories. I think the important thing to identify in these subcategories is the percent match. And we do have some what we think to be qualifying projects, so I'll try to give you an indication of what we think those shovel-ready projects are, the funding sources that we might be able to provide as a match, or we may decide to go for one that's 100% funding. But there's pluses and minuses to each. So the first option is an economically significant development. There is no dollar threshold on this one. They are looking for high-impact, big-ticket projects, but you have to have 60% of the funds procured for your project. So you could have a $10 million project, but you then have to have $6 million in hand.
Okay.
So that's going to be a challenge for us on some of the bigger ticket stuff, as much as we'd like to get into that. The big focus on those are mostly tourism-based. Site development, recreational trails, no min-max like I talked about, 60% procured funds. So this one actually only requires 25% in this first one, so we would still have some remaining funds out there that we don't have yet. Projects that come to mind could be your sports complex we've talked about, but without having that 60% procured, that really would be a tough one to sell. The second one, which I'm going to try to steer you guys towards, and I'll tell you why, is the outdoor recreation one. This is outdoor recreation. Again, they're looking for big ticket projects, which I'll explain later when we have. To enhance tourism to the state or region, 60% funds secured, with 40% funded by the grant. That's the one, like I said, when we get to, I'll try to explain why I think that one might be the best for us. The third one, which seems like it may be the best for us, would be the tourism grant, which is also grant assistance of 100% up to a $500,000 project. So when we start looking at the marina project, the trail project we're talking about here a little bit later, that seems like it might be a good fit, but there's 2 caveats to that I think might make a hurdle for us. One of them is this project will draw people from outside the local community, but they also want to see how this is going to impact the state on a national level. So the Clinton Marina project is great. We could probably make that case for it, but would we make a case strong enough to qualify for us for that? And then the other piece of that one too is, let me see if I can find my thought on that one. Matt, there was one other option on that one which did not qualify for us. Do you recall what that one was?
Where you at on outdoor?
On the tourism grant. I'll have to come back to that one. Oh, I'm sorry. This one's going to be 100% funded, 500,000. Now, it may cost us a little bit more to do the outdoor recreation one by 38,000 when we get to the budget side of things,
Yep.
but I'll explain again.
So
why I
this
think-
one is the only one that provides the 100%.
It is.
Okay.
It is, but you got to have that.
But there's
national-
a couple more requirements.
Right.
Golly, with us being right on the border, you would think we could really capitalize on something like this if we're trying to pull.
Correct. Thank you. The reason why the tourism grant may not be an option is you have to explain why your project, if you go for tourism, doesn't qualify for either of the other two we just mentioned.
Roger.
So we probably
Okay.
would qualify. So not only would we have to give national recognition for our project, but also why we couldn't qualify for the other two, which we probably do. So
Okay.
I like the 100% and the 500,000, which is great, but can we make those 2 points? We'd really have to really get creative with our budgeting or with our wording. The final piece is the creative placemaking grant. Again, this one's a multi-million-dollar project option, but again, 40%, 60% has to be secured. For a town of our size, between 20,000 and 60,000, we could get up to $10 million. But again, unless you've got that shovel-ready, 60% secured, you're really kind of grasping at straws without those. So we would have to ask the council to commit to some major dollars to try to tackle some of these bigger projects. So probably not the greatest fit, but I'll let you guys decide that as we go. So potential projects that we have that we know that are shovel ready, that we could say if we got awarded this tomorrow, we could start digging, would be the Farmers Market Pavilion. I know that Matt maybe can talk a little bit. We did apply for a grant for this already with Miller Meeks that has some dollars available, so we're kind of thinking maybe that's not the best choice because maybe it's good to double dip and try to go for 2-for-1 grant, but at the same time, if we've already got a grant opportunity out there, let's try for something different for a project.
And the key is May 9th is when it opens for these grants. So we do have time because I don't think there's probably a few handhold or a handful of cities out there that are sitting postured to do this because as you read through these, somebody in some city had to come up with something to be ready for this, especially when you do backtrack a little bit on the cumulative plan because you're talking about public, private, talking about hotels, retail, restaurants, all with something that's also public,
Right.
meaning like a sports complex with hotels and retail. So the Farmers Market Pavilion, we will know. I was talking with the Representative Miller Meeks on Saturday and Kyle and Tracy. We have the mayor sitting next to her, hopefully right now, eating dinner in D.C. But basically, we'll know by next week that we're put into the bill. But then the bill sits there for a while. So long story short is, I think we put the farmers market, we let it ride. Representative Miller Meeks really, really liked this project as a niche project that sits over, a permeable paver, Roosevelt Street. It's really unique,
Farm
not
to
only for the
table.
farmers market,
Yep.
farmer table, also from the ag side of the house, which that's the area we're going in for that grant, might be very well done. And I'd hate to double tap and then get both, because then you got to kind of go
Right.
back. So anyway.
So I guess long story short, 4 options. One of them is 60% procured with 25% match. You still have additional funds. Big project, but do we have dollars for that? Probably not. The outdoor recreation, okay, we've got the marina project, which we'll talk about. It has the marina fund balance that we could use as a match for our 60%. Plus, we included the trail lighting into that project, which we do have $250,000 procured for through the CIP. So we could say that we had our 60% shovel ready to go. The tourism grant, 100%, 500,000, but you have to prove that it's nationally known, and you have to try to make the argument why it couldn't qualify for one of the other grants. And then the final one we talked about was that cumulative one with the retail, all the other big ticket projects. So those are the grants, but the projects we have, the other one would be the ball fields or the sports complex. But again, with that 60% match, that's big numbers. I think on a $6 million, $7 million project, we'd have to come up with like 4.2.
Yeah.
So we'll let you guys decide. But what I would recommend is that the city of Clinton applies for the outdoor recreation grant with the 60% procured funds through the fund balance dollars, which would be about $424,000, which we have in the fund balance, paired with the match for the trail lighting, which is the $250,000, which means that $0 more would come out of the taxpayer base because we've already got these dollars procured. We'd pay a little bit more than if we did the tourism grant because that one would be a 500,000 versus coming up with 461. So the $38,000 more, but to have a better option, I think, because what they're looking for, and they made it very clear, they're looking for your best project to put forward. And with that, we want to put the best project with the best opportunity for success. And in our minds, the outdoor recreation option is the best one. It shows we've got a match. It shows we're committed. It's shovel ready. I think that would be the best opportunity for us. Especially when you look at the tourism side of things, when Lesley talks about injection points, you also have to consider the river is an injection point with one of the most beautiful riverfronts in Clinton, one of the best marinas. The trail lighting up north makes it more of a destination. We add some more swings. We get the lighting done. This now becomes a reason why people want to come to Clinton. So that's why we chose that particular project. I mean, the ball fields and complex, don't get me wrong, that's my main goal, but I just don't think I can wedge that into this particular grant the way that it's written.
How long do you have to, you got to have the 60% before you apply for the?
You do. You have to have that secured at the time, and this is where they're tricky. So they kind of rushed this thing forward. They gave you like a 1-week window where they had a webinar where you could come in, and they said that they'll start taking grants as soon as May 9th. So it's going to be very competitive, and you probably need to have your dollars and probably have your, pre-work already done to this point, because these are like things that are ready to go right now. So that's one project with the marina that we could come to the table and say, we've got the dollars, we're ready to roll. If you'll remember, we also attempted to apply for a CAT grant for this same exact project, so we've got the language there. So now maybe we can, maneuver that language a little bit, clean it up, and maybe make a better product for this grant, and it's just not going back and reinventing the wheel. We've already done this and attempted it, but now we want to expand upon it, have more leverage with our dollars we can bring, and try to really increase our chances of getting it.
So I'm following this. Your recommendation is to apply for one thing for the pavilion.
Well, the pavilion
through what? We already did.
Yeah.
Okay, we already did.
Completely separate of this.
So completely separate.
Yep.
And then what we're going to put our foot forward with is for the marina project going through with the
Outdoor.
outdoor, yeah. I'm looking at the two. The outdoor or the tourism are the two opportunities, and it looks like that the outdoor grant might fit a little bit better based on what we already have going and have in hand.
And that what Josh said too is the trail lights that go from the 19th Avenue North Bridge that they're stopped now will go all the way to the 25th Avenue pump station. And then we'll also put the swings and the chairs and the garbage cans they are down in this end, because we were trying to get the number up to 1.15, right, with everything added together because of slip covers, marina operations, to then be able to get the most bang for our buck of $461,600 for this.
And the one thing that kept resonating when we did this webinar was big ticket. They want big tickets. So we took the marina project, and Matt wisely added the trail part in there and then beefed that up even with like we did on Riverfront now with those bench swings. So we can add that all the way up. Now we've got a $1 million+ project that we can really say we've got a big ticket item that would make Clinton a destination area.
Would the Corps engineer study cleaning out the slough and everything, would that work into part of that? Or?
Well, yes and no. And that one, actually, one of the things that with Mayor Scott's at with the Mississippi River, and not to speak for him, but one of the conversations is they really like that project to leverage other funds for, and they really liked our fiber project to leverage some funds for. Not to convolute this, but so Mayor Scott thinks there might be other funds that we can reach through the Mississippi River Mayors Association to then be able to pull that for those. And I even contacted Elena today as Josh and I were kind of banging our head against the wall, but they also talk about probably just one project. Don't try to, because it may discount out, because there was over 700 people that came in on the webinar.
Oh, I'm sure.
And not just cities, it was businessmen and women and
especially when you start talking about 100 million, we go very fast. When you start talking about, and that's why I'm not sure if it's actually going to be more than that, because when they start talking about the cumulative projects, they could go up to multi-million dollars with private and public doing it together. So I think we get in there. I think the other cities, even though they took care of the webcam, aren't going to be as prepared to have something, because it's very tough to. Because we try to get a project, get the dollars for it, and knock it out. You don't typically have a project like we have. We got lucky with the farmer's market because we've been changing that and adapting it, which is cool. And we got lucky with this one because you've been planning on the marina, and we had a couple other things to add in because the match is the kicker.
Yeah. And I hate steering us away from 100% $500,000 grant towards having to come up with an additional 442, whatever that number ends up being. But we would have to get real creative with our language to make us fit within that tourism grant. And some of that language just came through to us today when we finally got back from Elena, as you had mentioned. Was she from ECIA or
She's the one that gave the IEDA.
For her, so she's the one that presented the
briefed it,
information. So she gave us guidance on like, hey, you
Which I
gotta
was
be
glad
sure.
because it means that not everybody's emailing her.
Yeah.
Because she came back today.
So, I would love to see something some artwork of some sort along Riverfront.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Bellevue has.
I agree.
And I think you could probably pretty easily incorporate it.
Yeah.
But I think that meets the tourism piece and does not seem to me to, at first,
outdoor though, because you're putting
and then just fit right in.
added in there.
But I think it's another reason for people to come explore our riverfront
I couldn't
and
agree
check
more.
things out.
Agreed.
And I'm talking,
They even like the Clinton signs they did for regular.
yeah, like that. That's a neat piece.
Yep.
But you've got a lot of room all the way. You can,
Yep. There's a whole nother layer to that too, because one thing I want to remind the council, maybe it's been a while, but the original cost estimate to do the project that we talked about was $450,000. The issue is when we got the one lone bid, because people couldn't guarantee their prices the 8 months to get to October, was their material costs. That's why the one bid we had was, 400 and 300 respectively for the two parts. So it may not necessarily be 700,000, 800,000, which was supposed to have been a $450,000 project. If we can get any sort of raw material prices to recover even remotely, that's all less money we have to take out of that fund balance, or we take it and add more components to the project. So I don't want to scare everybody with that 442,000, because that would be at today's current market prices, which we think are still,
Way too high.
50% high, at least 40% high.
But the good news is with the 442, not that we want to use all the marina fund, but it would go all for the marina stuff. And the dollars they give us then would go for all the other things that we had added into it, because they're going to want to know where their dollars go for that. So
Yeah, because the trail lighting's already, that has the funding as well to do, and we're just in preliminary process, so none of this work has been started, so we're not going to eliminate ourselves because some of the work's been done. That's always a big thing with grants. If you started the work, it kind of nulls your project.
So we're not doing the farmers thing with this.
No, I think we're going to stick with, and I could be end up wrong, stick with Miller Meeks for now, because so they had 10 projects last year, 8 of them got funded.
Okay.
They get 15 this year. We made it through the interview process. That was this weekend, the phone call.
When will we know on that?
Hopefully by Friday.
And when do we have to get this
We have
formalized?
May 9th is when it opens, but we don't have to put in then.
So actually,
we have
we
some time.
may know a little
Yep,
more.
that's why we wanted to put
We'll
both
bring
up
this
there.
May
Okay.
10th for you guys to approve
Roger.
the formal resolution.
how
Tonight's
we
just
Yeah.
seeking your input to
Okay.
proceed with which
Very well.
option.
Because
All
we
right.
need the resolution of your support, like Jess said, because that'll be part of the packet. We got to fill the stuff online.
And is it first come, first serve? Are they open
No.
it, closing it, selecting the best projects?
Yes, I think the
Okay.
latter.
Okay.
And they'll keep awarding projects until the money runs out.
Okay.
So the sooner you get your app.
But they will have a basically a submission
Objective
window.
criteria.
So you're not required to, you get in the first day, you're the
No.
best shape. Okay.
You might have the better
All right.
chance, though.
Right.
If they like your project, they might say, "Yep, we're going to fund that one."
They might
now
be
we're
a
down to
little-
90 million.
Yeah.
It might be a little wore out looking at things, but if you're at the end.
Yeah.
Yep, but we're ready. This
Maybe
pro-
they'll do
that
it in
project's ready.
alphabetical order, which would put Clinton
There you go.
towards the front.
Yeah. So my recommendation, but it's up to you guys, obviously, is to seek permission to proceed forward with the outdoor recreation grant.
Yeah.
With the 60% procured funds through the marina fund balance in combination with the trail lighting capital improvement dollars, if you guys see fit. Or if you guys direct me another way, that's completely fine too.
I would really like to see you look into some artwork stuff if the rest of the council thinks that might be something worth
Artwork
looking
stuff
at
for
Riverfront.
to
as part of the
basically
project.
bolster the project, I think is what he's getting at.
And I don't think it has to be too glamorous. If you just go look at what Bellevue did with some fairly simple pieces, it adds a lot of attractive elements to their riverfront.
I don't think that'd be an issue.
And then, if we started like a little bit of a garden where the existing
Yeah.
pieces down there were already on the Lubber's Fountain
Yeah.
upgrade.
Yeah, and we've
That
got
might be
the
in-
rock. I mean, so
Yeah.
we've already kind of started that.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the area where everything's
And the
kind of.
benches are pretty decorative. I
Yep.
mean, they're not artwork, but I guess they could. They
But
are
the,
a
the
form of
flower pots
artwork.
with the fat,
Yeah,
which
the
is
flowers,
the
yeah.
CVB group. There's more flower
Yeah.
planters that could be decorated by the.
Yep.
What's another interesting look of this is if we're going two different ways with two different significant projects, that's going to get our name out a lot more than trying to, like if we have something going on over here,
Yep.
for the pavilion, and another thing going on here for the marina.
With lights in between.
I think, I think that there's a real synergy. Well,
Could you
okay,
not
that word
tie this-
coming again, but it's a real synergy of what we are doing in our community as a whole.
Could we not tie this into the Walk of Fame a little bit? Lighting for the statues, things like that. That'd be artwork.
Yeah, I mean, man, you got your
I
work
need,
cut
I
out
need more
for you,
information
Josh.
on that, but we could try to roll in as much as we can.
I guess
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
if council members have, because you're going to be kind of working on this, you
Yeah.
guys. Maybe if you guys
We'll
have
share
any
with-
ideas,
Certainly,
you
yeah,
can
certainly
email
we
them off.
can come
We're
to
trying to
meetings
keep the
and
Walk of
just.
Fame virtual right now.
Oh, all right.
Now, so-
Okay.
Okay.
For now, but we'll see.
But certainly have, a couple more eyes and ears just to kind of throw out some more ideas, yeah. I'd be up for that.
I'd definitely like to see a wall with all the veterans that served for Clinton, Iowa, on it down on Riverfront.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
And if not this, there could be other grants for that as well. I'm sure
yeah.
we could work something towards that end.
And have the wall look like something like they have on the corner of Hy-Vee there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's a nice
ours.
look. That is nice.
That
yeah.
is ours.
That's one of
but
our
yeah.
nicest signs in town.
It
Everybody
is
misses.
nice. I know, and
It's
you
like-
never see it.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, you can,
that is a nice sign.
And maybe we
Yeah.
can reach out to the grant
That'd
grant
be great
experts
coming
too
in.
and ask
Yes,
what
it
they
would
think
be.
is spreading us too thin. Like, at what point are we just plugging too much on top of it,
Yeah.
or what do they think would really give us a good chance to?
it's probably best to
success?
keep it simple.
That'd be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Build on it.
if we get fortunate and the material prices come down and
brains
maybe you get the grant awarded, then you start leveraging those dollars elsewhere. Value engineering, if you will. So.
Awesome. Well, I think, do we need to move something forward?
I would look for a motion.
To make us go work.
Yeah,
Make us
for
go
outdoor
work.
recreation grant for
Yep.
the city of Clinton.
I'm a second it.
All right, we have a motion and
25, 30.
2 seconds and a third. Is there any more
We already
discussion?
had this marina project going,
Yeah.
and we all want to develop the riverfront.
Yep.
And it's right up the
We have a lot more we can, do down there. All right, so we got a motion and a second. Anything else, guys? All right, Lisa, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Witt.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Oh, this is gonna take a while.
This will probably take an hour.
Yeah. This is a serious discussion of this vacant lot.
Yes, Your Honor, so I'd like to discuss city-owned property, 537 9th Avenue South. Basically, we got this on the tax certificate. It's a bare ground, non-buildable. So remember, buildable's got to be 50-foot frontage. The adjacent owner, Miss Cindy Ugarf, submitted an offer for $250. She intends to add the lot to her existing property, which is her property right here, and then this is the existing lot. So basically, it would add to this over on 9th Avenue South. Uh-oh, I heard a click.
I was going to make that motion.
I'll second it. All right, we have a motion and a second.
good.
Anything else? Any discussion? The other adjoining property owner will be notified just
Yep.
as regular protocol?
Check.
Okay. We haven't heard from them, though, at all?
We have not.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shemmers.
Yes.
Witt.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
All right. Council member Shimmers, any updates?
Nothing at this time.
What?
No.
Davis?
No, I don't have any.
Oberon? Mussman?
No.
Kearns?
Yes, May 5th, 5 to 8 p.m., the Lions neighborhood has an art and wine walk.
Awesome. That ties in perfectly. We're running right down Riverfront, too.
That's
and-
right. It is
yeah.
on the LPBA Facebook page.
What? April 5th? Or
May
May 5th?
5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8. And there's wine?
There's wine, Cody.
Okay. All right.
Party before my birthday.
And where's the mayor exactly?
May 6th is my birthday.
Exactly right now, maybe 8 o'clock.
He's with the Mississippi River.
Mayor's Association.
Yep. And so he's out in Washington, D.C. He is he's working on things. Hopefully we'll accomplish something for the city of Clinton. That'll be good. So, Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast went well. Saw some faces. So thanks for everyone that came and helped clean up a little bit on Mill Creek. They made it from Highway 30 to in between Harts Mill and 2nd Avenue South, and I think there are 70 bags, which is nice to get to it before they mow, because it's not in 100 pieces. But man, we got a long ways to go, and there's a lot of work, so I don't know if we'll do another day at it or not. And thanks for picking everything up, Brian and the team. That made things a lot easier than loading it up and stuff. So,
What was the most interesting thing you found?
there was a couple not so, kind of naughty baseball type cards that were found. Yep. And then we found a half of Aegis sunglasses. So we think both those items fell out of the mayor's pocket. But, no. Otherwise, no, it was just a lot of cups and beer cans and stuff like that. So, but it was good, and it's looking better. So, it'd be nice if people just quit throwing it out the window, though.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned.